Welcome back to Springer Homestead. I'm Kanan, and today we're going to talk a little bit about solar power component recycling. Now, solar power lately has been on a really kind of an uptrend. People either love it or hate it, depending on what brand it is, who's manufacturing it. It's a big topic of discussion. One of the concerns, though, is that when solar components tend to fail or end of life, what do we do with them? Well, a lot of times people have been just throwing them away and going into the landfill, and unfortunately that is the case with a lot of places. The question is, can a lot of this stuff be recycled? The simple answer is yes, but when you look at things like solar panels themselves, there are a multiple of minerals and components that go into it. There's obviously glass on the surface, there's wafers inside, there's lead, cadmium, copper, you name it. There are a lot of minerals in there that really should not go to a landfill. You have wiring that goes from the panels inside to the components, the inverters, chargers, and batteries. The batteries themselves, depending on what they are, they could be lead acid, they could be AGM or absorbed glass mat, they could be lithium, they could be lithium iron phosphate. All of those individually actually are recyclable. The trouble we're finding is that components, well, it's a lot cheaper, honestly, just to throw them in the landfill, which is the kind of the bad thing that's happening. Where we need to step it up is that everything can be recycled, but the trouble is getting all these components to an actual licensed facility that can recycle them. Panels themselves, like I said, have glass, have wafers inside, they have minerals. Each of those has to be separated out, and it's not something probably your local service center can do, right? You take your aluminum cans in, they recycle them. You can't really do that with these. So what we're finding is that a lot of manufacturers and pieces are actually joining up together to put together facilities dedicated to recycling components. The trouble is they're spaced all over the US. There's really not an easy way to get there, but companies are stepping forward to be the spearhead of a recycling movement. So I just looked online a little earlier today trying to figure out, well, who's actually taking these and recycling them? You can see that there is a company out there called We Recycle Solar, which is pretty simple, that's actually taking panels and components such as inverters, chargers, batteries. They're taking them all in, they're actually breaking them down, breaking them into their individual minerals and components, and then getting them to the proper recycling. The trouble is it's not cheap, but when it's only going to cost you 30 bucks a panel, I get it. It's going to be hundreds of dollars, if not more, to get rid of it. But the question is it cheaper to go to a landfill, or is it better for the environment to actually take it to a qualified recycling center? So always the question comes up, what do you do with it at the end? Well, the solution is kind of in a development phase where we get proper components and everything to the right people to break them down. Everything is recyclable. The trouble is getting it to the right hands to do so. Hopefully that explains a little bit. And if you had questions on it, it kind of eases your mind. We can recycle the stuff. It's just a matter of getting it in the right hands to do it, which has lately been the struggle. That's it for next time. Happy homesteading.